My name is Elena, and I'm 29 years old. I live in a small city near the mountains in California. Some people call it a tech town. Clean streets, fast Wi-Fi, and cafes full of laptops. I work at Google. Not the famous campus, but a smaller office near the river. It's a quiet job. I sit at a desk most of the day, answer emails, and join Zoom meetings. I rent a small studio above a Korean restaurant. In the mornings, I smell rice and garlic from the kitchen downstairs. Across the street, there's a bookstore that only opens after 10 a.m. Next to it, there's a small hospital. On Tuesdays, they run a free health check, and the line goes all the way around the block. There's a tiny park 2 blocks from my apartment. It has 3 benches, a broken water fountain, and a little path where old men walk in circles while talking about politics. That's where I met Tom. He was sitting on the bench near the red tree, the one that stays red even in summer. I was eating lunch alone, reading on my phone. He smiled at me and said, "Is the chicken from that new food truck?" I looked up, surprised. "Yeah, first time trying it." He laughed. "Try the soy garlic next time. Trust me." And I did. We met again a few days later. Then again. After that, it just became normal. Lunches in the park, coffee on rainy Sundays, texting memes at midnight, arguing about movie endings. He became my favorite part of every week. When my mom had surgery, he drove me to the hospital. When my heater broke, he brought over an extra blanket. When my birthday came, he made me banana bread, even though he hated baking. People at work asked, "Is he your boyfriend?" I always smiled and said, "No, he's just a good friend." But deep down, I didn't know what we were. Maybe something in between. Maybe something waiting to begin. Then one afternoon, everything changed. We were sitting on the grass behind the office, watching the clouds move slowly over the hills. He turned to me and said, "Elena, I need to tell you something. I think I'm in love with you." Before we continue with the next part of the story, I'd love to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video, leave a comment, and share it with a friend who's learning English too. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next stories. All right, let's get back to Elena's story. He said it so softly, I almost didn't hear it. "I think I'm in love with you." I didn't answer right away. I just looked at the sky. The clouds kept moving. The breeze felt colder. My heart was racing, but my voice was stuck. After a long silence, I finally said, "Tom, I don't know what to say." He looked at me and nodded. "It's okay. You don't have to say anything now. I just needed to be honest." I smiled, but my smile felt weak. "You're my best friend," I said. "I don't want to lose what we have." "I know," he whispered. We sat there for a few more minutes, pretending to watch the sky. Then he stood up and said, "I should get back to work." "See you around, Elena." That was the last time I saw him for a while. Tom didn't text me that night, or the next day, or the day after that. I told myself he just needed time, but deep inside, I felt something break. The park bench stayed empty for a week. Our lunch messages stopped. Even our silly jokes on Slack went quiet. One Friday, I walked by the coffee shop where we used to meet. The barista asked, "Where's your guy? Haven't seen him in a while." I just smiled and said, "He's busy, I think." But I wasn't sure anymore. A few weeks later, I saw him again. I was walking home from work, and he was on the other side of the street. He was with someone. A girl, short hair, red hoodie, laughing loudly. They looked happy, not fake happy, just light, free. Tom didn't see me, or maybe he did, but didn't want to. I stood there for a few seconds, then crossed the street in the other direction. My hands were shaking. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the moments I said no without using the word no. All the times I pulled back. All the times I smiled instead of speaking. I opened our old messages. I read them one by one. "You okay? Want me to drop off soup? You looked tired today. Try to rest. You make things better, even on bad days." I closed my phone and stared at the ceiling. The room felt too big. My chest felt too small. The next morning, I called in sick. I sat by the window with a cup of tea and asked myself, why did I say no? The answer was not easy. I wasn't afraid of Tom. I trusted him more than anyone. But I was afraid of change. Afraid that something so good could fall apart if I called it love. And now I had lost him. Days turned into weeks. He didn't come back to the park. He didn't show up in the coffee shop. He didn't message on my birthday. I tried to act fine. I laughed at work. I made weekend plans. But when I walked home, the city lights felt colder. I passed the bench where we used to sit, and for a moment, I almost sat down. But I didn't. It didn't feel like my place anymore. One evening, Lena, my coworker, and I stayed late to finish a project. As we packed up, she looked at me and said, "You've been really quiet lately." I forced a smile. "Just tired." She paused, then said, "Sometimes tired means something else." I didn't reply, but I knew she was right. That weekend, I sat down and wrote a letter, not to send, just for myself. "Dear Tom, I think I made a mistake. I said no when I meant I'm scared. I pushed you away because I didn't know what love felt like. But now, I think I do, and I miss you every single day." I folded the letter and placed it in a book, the one he once gave me, Poems for Quiet Days. He wrote in it, "Page 27 is my favorite. Hope it becomes yours too. I opened to page 27. It said, "Sometimes love is soft and silent. It waits at your door until you open it. Or it walks away, still smiling." I closed the book and cried. The kind of cry that doesn't need sound, just breath. The next day, I went back to the park, alone. I sat on the bench. The sky was gray. There was a little girl feeding pigeons. A man sweeping on the far bench. A jogger with headphones running loops. I sat there for a long time. Just breathing, thinking. Then I took out my phone and searched his name. No messages, no calls, nothing. I started typing, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. Finally, I wrote, "Hi Tom, I hope you're okay. Can we talk sometime?" I didn't hit send. Not yet. Instead, I walked to his apartment. My hands were shaking. When I got there, I stood at the door for 5 full minutes. Then I rang the bell. The door opened. But it wasn't Tom. It was a woman, maybe in her late 20s, short hair, red hoodie. The same girl I saw with him weeks ago. She looked at me kindly, but with curiosity. "Hi, can I help you?" I froze. My hands were cold. My mind was louder than the street. I'm looking for Tom. Is he home?" She tilted her head slightly. "Yes, he just got back from a run. 1 sec." She disappeared inside. A moment later, I heard footsteps. Then Tom appeared in the doorway, holding a towel in one hand and a water bottle in the other. He looked surprised, not angry, not happy, just surprised. "Elena? Hi. Everything okay? Can we talk? Just a few minutes." He nodded, looked at the girl inside, then back at me. "Sure, let's take a walk." We walked slowly down the street. The sun was lower now. Golden light touched the tops of trees and made the sidewalk glow. It was the first time we'd been alone together in weeks, and I didn't know where to begin. He didn't speak, so I did. "I'm sorry for showing up. I couldn't hold it in anymore." He stayed quiet. "I've been thinking about that day, when you told me how you felt. I didn't know how to answer. I felt scared. Still no words from him, only quiet steps beside me. I kept going. But I miss you a lot. And I think maybe I made a mistake." He stopped. We stood near a small park. A child was kicking a soccer ball. A dog barked from a balcony above. He finally spoke. "I waited for you for weeks. I hoped you'd come back." "I wanted to," I said quickly. But I didn't know if I was too late. I tried to move on, Elena. I had to. It hurt too much to wait. I looked down. My shoes were dusty. A dry leaf blew across the sidewalk. "She seems nice," I said. "She is," he replied. "She's kind. She says what she means." And she said yes. That word again. Yes, the one I never gave him. "Do you love her?" I asked. He looked up at the sky, then at me. "I'm trying to. I want to." It wasn't anger. It wasn't blame. It was just honesty. And somehow, that hurt the most. "I came here because I needed to tell you the truth," I said. "Not to take anything back, just to be honest." Finally, he nodded. "I appreciate that. I really do." We sat on a nearby bench. The air was cooler now. A breeze picked up and carried the smell of bread from the bakery down the street. I remembered all the times we sat like this before, laughing, talking about nothing, sharing silence that never felt heavy. "You made my days lighter," I said, even when I didn't say it, even when I pulled away. "And you made mine warmer," he said. But I couldn't stay in the cold forever. I bit my lip, trying not to cry, but a tear rolled down anyway. He looked at me, reached into his jacket pocket, and handed me a tissue. We laughed, just a little, and that made it worse. "You know," he said, "I used to imagine this moment, you coming back, telling me all this. And now that I have," he paused, "now I know it matters. Even if it changes nothing." We sat in silence for a few more minutes. Then he stood. "I should go back. Lily's waiting." I nodded. My voice wouldn't work. He took a step, then turned around. "Take care, Elena." "You too," I whispered. I watched him walk away. And with each step he took, something inside me let go. The sun dipped behind the trees. And the street lights turned on, one by one. And I walked home with empty hands, but a full heart. Because I finally told the truth, even if it came too late. The night after we spoke, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every look, every silence. I had no regrets about going to see him, but my heart still felt heavy. And yet, there was something else too. A strange kind of peace. A quiet knowing that I had done what I needed to do. The truth was out now. I didn't hide. I didn't wait. I didn't miss the moment again. And that mattered. In the weeks that followed, I tried to live slower. I stopped rushing through mornings. I sat longer at the coffee shop near the corner, where the barista always played soft jazz. I noticed things: a mother tying her son's shoes, a dog sleeping in a sunbeam, a man giving flowers to a woman in scrubs. The city didn't change, but I did. I started journaling again. Every evening, I would write one honest thing about my day. Not big things, just real things. Today, I felt proud of myself for saying no to overtime. Today, I felt sad when I passed our bench, but the sky was beautiful. Today, I remembered his smile and didn't cry. Little by little, my heart began to soften again. One Sunday, I went to the bookstore across from the park. It had a little poetry section in the back. I pulled out a thin blue book with a pressed flower inside. I smiled. It reminded me of him, but not in a way that hurt, in a way that warmed. Later that evening, I met Lena for dinner. We sat on the patio of a small Thai place. The air smelled like lime and basil. She asked me how I was really doing. I took a deep breath. I think I'm okay. Not perfect, not fixed, but okay. She smiled and raised her glass. To okay. It's a good place to start. A few weeks later, I saw Tom again, by accident. I was picking up groceries. He was coming out of a bakery. We both paused. He smiled. Hey. Hey, I replied. There was no awkwardness, no old pain, just two people standing under soft morning light who once shared something gentle. You doing all right? He asked. I am, I said, and I meant it. He nodded. Good. And then he walked away, holding a bag of bread. I watched him go, and I didn't feel like crying. I felt like breathing. Later that day, I opened my journal and wrote, some people are not meant to stay forever, but they help you find the parts of yourself you almost forgot. Thank you, Tom, for loving me, even when I didn't know how to love myself. If you are listening to this and holding something back, a truth, a feeling, a goodbye, I hope you find the courage to say it, even if it's late, even if it changes nothing. Because honesty doesn't always fix the past, but it frees the heart. And sometimes that's the first step forward. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart, feel free to share your thoughts below. Until next time, take care. And don't be afraid to speak your truth.